Thank you for joining me this evening at Bert's Books. This is just going to be a little bit of a unscripted kind of catch up on the stuff I've acquired recently. So I'll just plough in. First off, Edward S. Aaron's Assignment Golden Girl. This looks like a sexy spy story, I suppose. Let's have a look. One Step to Freedom. She called herself Sally, and her eyes were pure gold. So was her skin. This does sound like a derivative of a certain James Bond story, perhaps. The rest of her was a treasure too, and she wanted Sam to have it all. But Sam had other plans, because Sally wasn't just another girl. She was the princess of Packaroo. And Sam had to smuggle her and her brother out of the tiny African domain before it exploded around them. So it's kind of like, there's an ancient locomotive in this. So yeah, it sounds like a sexy adventure story then, I suppose. We'll see. I haven't tried it. Bloodthirsty Rebels. It's not going to be a joyride. Okay, we'll see. Complete unknown to me. Just impulse purchase from the cover art, really. Next up, Geoffrey Jenkins, A Grue of Ice. I don't even know if grue is a word. What is grue? Oh, I'll look it up. But as far as I knew, it was quite close to the Welsh word for beer, I believe. But and coincidentally, I did pick this up in Wales. And what I say about second-hand shops in seaside towns, they're quite good for old pulps. Anyway, yeah, I don't usually go in for the Navy kind of stories. It's never been a fixation with me, really. But I couldn't really turn down that artwork. A nice airbrushed-looking image of a. I'm not even sure what that is. I think it might be a fairy something, like one of the follow-ons from the fairy swordfish, maybe. But anyway, it promises excitement. And I believe I found this in the same place, The Butcher, number 32. So obviously quite a series. I didn't know of it. The Hoodoo Horror by Stuart Jason, the only man to leave the mafia and live. Halo of Death. No one knows very much no one knows very much about the man, Father Paquet, except that thousands think he's the next Messiah and flock to hear his word and do his bidding, no question asked. So it's like I guess some sort of thriller about some dodgy guru type of character. Anyway, over 3 million in print. I assume they mean the complete series and not just issue 32. Next, now, poor old Shaun. He does get a bit of a... People poke a bit of fun at Shaun. And his name does come up, of course, as being one of the probable main influences behind Garth Marenghi. Yeah, I can see that. Now it's a long time since I've read Shaun Hutson. I don't really have him down as anything particularly highbrow. Now when this, I saw this in a charity shop with big thick book, right? Look at it, breeze block, right? An omnibus, a Shaun Hutson omnibus. Now that I was thinking maybe I'd get 4 books in there by Shaun, or 6, but in fact it seems to be 2. So I think these are 90s vintage. I sort of remember him more from the 80s, but he must have got more ambitious in the 90s and wrote big thicker books. So Purity and Deadhead. I think the first of which is maybe 97 and the second of which is around 93. So I actually got a little way into this, and let's be realistic. He's not highbrow. It's it is pulp writing, but there's nothing wrong with that. I'm finding it fairly easy to get through. I'll say that. The first story, it starts off with this. Actually, I'd assumed it was 80s, but more because of the style of the. It partly concerns itself with this DJ, this shock jock sort of person, which I remember that being more of a thing in the late 80s when you had people like James Whale on the television and that kind of thing. But anyway, we'll see. He's an author I should really get around to doing something more in depth about. So I'll write myself a reminder and maybe one of his 80s books rather than these because shorter. Anyway, next up, I haven't visited this in a long time, and I think the last time I read it I was probably in my teens, and at that time, this seemed like some kind of titillating forbidden fruit, and I think probably because I associate it more with the film of, I think I actually watched the film of the second book, if I've got this right, Onward Virgin Soldiers, the one with Robin Asquith in it. Anyway, I think I watched that film before really reading any of it, so I kind of had it logged in my mind from the time as these being these kind of sex comedy things. And is this another? I should probably go into more detail, give this its own episode. I've got to say though, on revisiting this, it's not quite what I had it logged as. It's not the kind of I mean, it's kind of dressed, from the cover art you'd think, kind of the randy Englishman abroad in the sort of in the age of declining empire, but actually sort of reading it from if I can say adult perspective, it's not quite what I had it pegged as, I'll say that. But again, I should probably look at Leslie Thomas's book in more detail in its own episode. Now, I don't know if any fellow creators out there are feeling the pain at the moment. I've just realised that YouTube's algorithms have again changed, and consequently my views have took another of those dives. Thanks, YouTube. Now, I don't know at the moment, I just don't know if I can be bothered to watch the tutorials on what I've got to do to address this and the strategies and all, rather than just talk about what I'm going to talk about, you know what I mean? So I'll think about that at a later time. But if any other channels out there on my watch list are feeling that pain as well, you have my sympathies. It's kind of aggravating. So anyway, we're coming up to Halloween. I'm not doing anything special about it. I know a lot of people do a sort of episode on what you're reading in the run-up, and so I'm probably just going to watch. What else would I do but watch Halloween 3? That's what I'm going to do. That's what I always do. I mean, I might supplement that with another horror film, but really I'm going to watch Happy Halloween, Halloween. That's what I'm going to do. So, and no one better come knocking on my door for sweets, because you're not getting any. But if anyone's interested, I have done a video. It's like a few years old now, actually. I have done a video on the novelisation for Halloween 3, and I will put a link maybe there. Anyway, thank you again for joining me. Hope to see you soon. Take care, everybody.